matplotting, and this is actually the additional step for matplot inline, right? I'm actually taking another collab. Let me upload the data also. Titanic train. Yes, right. I'll run this. So this is actually the package thing. Yes. So the data is read. Now, if you see the data, I just take the head of the data. You see here, I'm having passenger ID. Then this is 1 2 3 4 5. That is serial number kind of thing. Next is survived 0 1 1 0. Maybe 0 is for not survived and 1 is for survived. Next, P class, passenger class. In what class there are? In train and all, will be having first class AC, second class like that. So in Titanic ship, there may be a third class, first class like that. Class in which the passenger is actually traveling. Next, passenger
Sir,
name. Yes,
where is Jack and Rose, sir?
general you have to search, right? Next, I'm having the gender, that is male, female, and so on. Age is available. Next, SIP, a park, and many other fields are actually available, which is not our interest is not to look into the entire Titanic data set. Our thing is to understand something. This cabin. See here, NAN. This is actually the thing which we are mostly going to concentrate. Many missing values are available in the top five itself. Any NAN values are available. Usually, when we download any data set and find NA values, we'll be in a very tougher situation and handling it. So we have methods, either delete it or either use statistical methods or create model. Let us see how we are going to handle it. Right. First, we need to analyze this NA values. It is not that by looking at the train.head or something, we can see what is the missing value. There are many things to understand where is the missing value is actual. So I just take train dot is null. So if it's null says that if it is null, it returns true. Now you see here how my cabin is having many true values means that it is having many NA values. So this is the data which we need to handle. If I'm going to use the cabin feature for my learning analysis, then surely I need to handle missing data here because many true values are here means that many null values is available in this particular column, right? Now what I'll create a heat map. This heat map, what is the role is, I just take the null values. So this train dot is null will give me all the null values which is actually present in the each particular column. I take all the columns starting from passenger ID to embarked everything, and I just say is null as the data for it. And white tick labels is equal to false means that I don't record y axis, only x axis is required, and C bar is equal to false. Column bar is not required. And color map, I just take one of the color palette, that is Viridis, right? Now, if you see in this C map, C bond map, see if you have that passenger ID is available, survived, P class name, sex, age, SBSB, park, ticket, fare, cabin, and embark. Everything is available. See, this is actually the giving the viridis, that is some yellow color highlight only for data which is actually missing. Now, from this, I was clearly understood, right? Passenger ID is not having any missing values. Survived is not having any missing values. P class, name, and sex is not having any missing values. But age, in many subsequent smaller intervals, it is having the small missing NA values. So those NA values are actually represented in yellow. When coming to CBSB, park, ticket, and fare, I don't find any missing values here. But when I come to cabin, see how much highlights are available. These highlights actually corresponds to the NA values. How much NA values are available here. So if I was in a position to include cabin into my regression or any machine learning analysis, surely I need to handle those missing data. And I have this much high large data, surely I cannot go for deletion. Why? Because if I delete the row, then what will happen? I will lose many data. I can think in the contrary that since cabin is having more missing values, I can delete the column itself. I can do that. But what will happen is any particular characteristic that is going to affect the output variable based on the cabin may be affected, right? Because cabin is maybe contributing for survival or anything. So if it is actually contributing much, then its effect is actually removed completely. Similarly, age is one of the most important parameter when I was considering survival, because higher ages may be having more survival rate, while lower ages may be having less survival rate. So this age cannot be neglected anywhere entirely, right? So we need to think on that. So before going for deletions. Coming to this, I just said style as white grid. So grids are from grid chart. Now count how many people have survived and how many people have not survived. We know that in Titanic, many people have not survived. So it is in zero represents not survived, and it is represented in blue, and one represent survived and red represented in red. So that is what is represented in this count plot. So 0 and 1. Now what we can actually do is, number one, I can go for a mean. In why? Because I will not create a model for this. Why? Because if I want to create a model, I need to create a separate model for finding age and another separate model for finding the cabin, right? Anyone I have to do. But what I will now do is I'll go for a statistical measure. I'll go for mean computation. What does that mean is I can take the data of all the values which are not having any missing values. I will take the mean of those and substitute for the missing values of age and this cabin, right? So what I have to do is I'll add everything and then substitute. But I have some other data also available, that is survival. So based on survival, I can perform some conditional mean if I combine it with some gender, right? So first, what I will do, I'll use a white grid plot that I want to combine survival and gender sex. That is, and then I put a red blue or chart. So in the red blue chart, I just display how these two are actually related, right? Why? Because we know that in Titanic, more males were died compared to the female, right? More and more females were actually survived there. So see here, now more males are actually not survived, and more only less females are actually not survived. Right. Similarly, when you come here in the survival, males are less and females are higher. So there may be some relation. So if I want to compute any age or something, I can use these two also. Next, what we can do, we can find a relationship with respect to the passenger class. Now, if you see in the SNS count plot, I want to take the survival plot and I need to give color based on the this hue parameter in SNS is actually used to specify the color. In what manner I have to give the color. If I have the passengers in the third class or second class or first class, depending upon the class, it will change the color. Right now, if you see and see here, now I'm having the survival rate, right? So in how many people not survived? The people who are in the third class actually not survived. Many people in the third class completely died. But many people in the first class are actually being saved more, right? People in the third class is actually having more danger of not getting survived. So that is one of the most important thing to analyze here, and there are some relation to this. So when the people in the third class, and if he is a male, surely he will not survive. And just we are getting some information, because we need all these information, group those information to find age and cabin. So those things we need to understand. So we found some relation. Okay, we have passenger class, we have the survival rate, and we have the sex. Both the all the three I can actually take and find some relation, and use that relation to find use some conditional mean or conditional mode or conditional median. Right now, coming to our hero, that is age. So I'll take the train of age and drop all the NA values and see how the distribution is actually with respect to the age. See the distribution, I can say that this distribution is initially decreasing and then increasing to a normal, right? It is not correctly normal, because there are some lesser values here with respect to age, but I can say that this distribution is actually having some normal values, right? Why? Because when you drop by NA values, it is actually getting some normal kind of distribution, right? It is after removing the NA values. Now, what we can actually do is we can try to increase the histogram bins, and based on the number of bins increase, I can try to identify whether normal distribution is available or not. Normal distribution is available or not. And based and once I when I was testing that normal distribution is needed, Why? Because if normal distribution is available for a particular value, then I can easily use that particular value to replace the other things. For example, if the particular data is present in first normal distribution, it means that 0.66 percentage of data is actually present there, and I can take mean of those data alone. If it is in the second normal distribution, I can take that. If it is a third standard deviation, I can take 99 percentage of data. So I can use those and I can record the data. Third, what I'm analyzing is the SIBSB, maybe SB, maybe siblings, I hope. So those data is also analyzed, right? Then next, FAIR. What is based on FAIR? I'm actually analyzing the FAIR data also. So everything we are trying to analyze and using those data, and then the next step is actually handling the missing data. So now I found that the most important things that are actually being used, I analyzed all the individual features one by one, and based on the features understood, I know that this is actually giving me some more information. So I can use this to find what is the age, right? And furthermore, I can also create a distribution for the age variable and handle that missing data. So what is the first step to handle the missing data? Understand every feature individually. Once you understand that features individually, surely you can go and analyze what will be obtained later, right? Yes, have you understand how to analyze the individual features? Just we are using the Seaborn library and plotting it and getting some information on how they are actually being related.